COD Mobile lets you copy other players' loadouts, so I copied the other team's MVP loadout after each ranked game until I lost my win streak. I thought using different guns would make things difficult, but the bigger challenge was the operators, streaks, wildcards, throwables, and perks that I never use. So let's see how far this goes and what these copied classes revealed about what ranked loadouts actually need to help you win. For the very first game, I used the enemy MVP from my previous game, and this video was almost a one-game challenge. The guy was rocking a KRM class with double stim shots and a misdirection device. Things I don't use at all. I'm a controller player, so we see lots of the same opponents, and I got matched up against the same dude running the same class here on Crossfire. Not exactly a map that screams pump action shotgun. With this challenge being about winning in ranked, I wanted to be in the buildings around B as much as possible. Unfortunately for me, the guy whose class this was is way better than me at being a movement terror with a pump shotgun. That's the first lesson. Copying the loadout does not copy the player. The class made sense for him because he had the routes, movement, close range confidence, and shotgun timing to get the most value out of it. I had the same tools, but not the same skill set. Fortunately for me, my teammates helped carry the day. We ended up getting a second half A and C cap that stood long enough to get us through to the win. I finished 9-15 while he went 32-14. So after trying it once, I see no reason for me to revisit the KRM, double stim, or misdirection device on my own anytime soon. It's not great for my skill set, and the map wasn't a good fit. Since we won, the challenge kept going. Because I had already used the enemy MVP's KRM class, I went to the other team's second place finisher and found myself with a RAAL MG. I haven't used it much. I only had 35 kills with it all time. Class had some interesting perks: lightweight, agile, scavenger, and alert. Surprising for an LMG to say the least. Also had some pretty ambitious streaks, EMP, airstrike, and gunship. So we hit domination on raid and we're laundry side to start. I love using white van to start working circle, but my team was pretty casual about getting to B. So instead of forcing it, I just took my time, playing around blocks and laundry, holding the lane, and really letting the RAAL do what it wants to do. They're not super coordinated either, so I'm just picking people off and relocating. And this is where the copied gun actually worked. It made me play slower, it made me hold space, it made me control laundry circle under pressure around B. And before you know it, I cycle through my streaks and get all the way to gunship. With it being about halfway through the first half, I decide to hold on to it for the second. We go into the break with a slight lead, and second half I go after B through the middle and use the claw to polish it off. From there it's defending B and finding a safe place to use the gunship. The gunship's fun, but for the effort it took to earn 3 kills is not exactly the ranked respawn payoff I'm looking for. End up going 34-4, and I may be revisiting the RAAL or other LMGs because this style is one I can be successful with, at least in domination. But I definitely pick different streaks. The gun gave me control, but the streak package left value on the table, in my opinion. Next man up is a VMP with an unorthodox build, no rapid fire, no heavy barrel. More of a mobility-focused loadout with Skulker and lightweight. Had some pretty high streaks, and then you have gravity spikes and stim shot. I usually play well on Diesel. One of my earliest videos explains the best way to play P2 and P4, and why you don't want to be running dirt road all game. We jump out to a pretty big lead through the first 2 points, and this game's a good reminder that not every useful class has to create some monster stat line. We don't end up with crazy numbers here, but I'm playing the map, getting on the point, helping with rotations, and doing enough of the job. This VMP was usable, the class was mobile enough, and the game was pretty comfortable. Again, some of the utility really didn't sell me. Not a big fan of gravity spikes. I know they charge quickly. I know people like using them as a get-out-of-jail-free card, but for ranked hardpoint, I don't see enough value to want them over a stronger operator that can actually break or clear space. So this was a useful win. Not a perfect class, not a monster game, but useful. After that, we take a USS-9 class. This is the first ever USS-9 footage that's appeared on my channel. This is more of a competitive OBJ build, metagun, low streaks, stealthy with dead silence and ghost. It had been a while since I used the USS-9, and I know they've nerfed the spread, but it's still a monster. This was the first copied gun that really felt natural. 2 strong P2 lives where I got all the streaks, and the class clearly worked for the way that I like to play hardpoint. But this is where the streak ceiling stood out. Got 5 UAVs, and that was useful. But if I'm playing well enough to cycle streaks, I hate having Hunter-Killer as the biggest payoff. The class helped me play the map, but the ceiling was lower than it needed to be. They battled back, but we held P2 well the second time, and we came out with a 3rd straight win. Next class was an interesting one. Another meta kind of setup with Overkill, the XM4, and a USS-9. K9 is the operator, Hunter-Killer, care package, Goliath. And I join a game in progress, and we're down 74-1. But we give it a go. With being closer range on Nuketown, I lean into the USS-9. I end up getting a flame knot from a care package. We have a crazy late hold attempt with them a single point away, but they end up winning. Now, we outscored them while I was in the game. I was marked as joined in progress, and my win streak icon in the lobby remained. So we play on. I take the loadout from the MVP of the losing team, a CBR4, and we keep it going. Some oddities with this class: control field, trip mine, stim shot, and then serpentine with hardwired in the green perk slot. Now we're on to Summit Hardpoint. You don't see a lot of the CBR, but the gun was good for this map and mode. Helped me take fights, play the objective, get my time on the hill. I also learned a valuable lesson with control field. You need to put it on the hill itself, not above it. But overall, this is another class where the gun wasn't the problem. The CBR fit Summit, I could win fights with it, I could still play the OBJ, but the rest of the class did not feel like it was helping me break the hills or hold hills well enough. Wasn't the biggest fan of Pred and Sentry Gun in the same streak lineup. Usually I'd recommend one or the other. On Summit, I didn't have a great idea where to put the Sentry where it would consistently create value. We built a pretty big lead. They made things interesting late, but we took care of business, and I led the lobby in kills and my team with time on the point. Again, good gun. Utility I would change. Now we're on to a 5-game winning streak heading into the next round, which is another shotgun. Thankfully for me, it's the Argus rather than the KRM. This class had Gravity Spike, C4, and Stim Shot, which are definitely interesting choices. And this one was a nail-biter all the way through. The Argus is almost like a marksman rifle. It can be really good at medium range, but you have to hit that shot. That's the trade-off. This gun can absolutely produce kills. But late in a close hardpoint, every miss becomes expensive. Interestingly enough, just like the KRM game, I'm playing against the same guy whose class it is in the following game again. And for most of the game, the Argus isn't an issue. I'm getting kills, getting capture kills, involved around the point, we're in good shape late. But then they end up taking P3. I try to break from either side, but neither one works out. And then this is where the class starts to fall short. Gravity Spikes charge fast, but in the moments where I needed a real room clear value, they didn't give me enough. The Argus can produce a great scoreline, and it did. But when the game comes down to a few late hardpoint fights, the margin is tiny. Comes down to P4, I miss a pretty makeable shot, and we end up taking the L despite a good final stat line. So I picked up 5 wins in a row before losing close at the end. Most of the guns were playable. The bigger issue was everything around the gun. A lot of players are using operator skills, equipment, perks, and streaks that don't add enough ranked respawn value. A ranked respawn loadout isn't just a weapon. It's the full plan for turning kills into objective value. So if you see someone crushing it and you want to copy something, I'd start with the gun. But I'd be careful about copying the whole class blindly, because the gun might be usable while the rest of the class is still leaving value on the table. And if you want to check to see if your ranked streaks are too safe, watch this video next.